So where have we headed today in the 30 on 30? We took the plane again and we left the Philadelphia airport. We've now landed in Tampa to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays, the 2020 American League champion and almost World Series champion Tampa Bay Rays. And they're, what can you say? They've been slowly getting better and better and better every single year. They're a well-run team, and I compare them to the Oakland A's in a lot of my videos because they're both teams that do a lot with a little. And what I mean a little by a little resources. They don't, they're not the big spenders. They do really, really coach well. They develop well, bring guys through the system. They've also had the benefit of sucking for a whole bunch of years and getting a lot of high draft picks, which increases your odds of developing top tier players instead of getting low draft picks. So odds are a little bit in their favor, but you still have to develop them. Not every number one pick turns out to be, a superstar. And again, if you look at their team, they're not loaded with superstars. They're loaded with a lot of solid players who fit well with each other. And, they do everything. They do small ball, things that a lot of other teams do not do. They run the bases. They do hit and runs. They steal bases. They drive people around, they drive people over, and they do a lot of things that make them so good. And they, and recently they've been hitting in the clutch, and they've had some ridiculous pitching lately too, which is, worked to their benefit. And more power to them. Even though they've given up David Price a bunch of years ago, they now have Blake Snell, the power lefty. And I'll get to him shortly because he's now the talk of the town. Now that they're open to listening to offers for Blake Snell, it kind of changes the landscape. Does that mean they're going to, they obviously would extract a huge package from him because he has 3 years left on a contract for $40 million total. We're talking about now Trevor Bauer getting maybe $30 million a year. This guy's getting, $13 a year. And he's a former Cy Young Award winner, and you saw what he did to the Dodgers in the World Series. He was part of that call where Kevin Cash took him out of the game, and he shouldn't have taken him out of the game. But that remains to be seen. That's in the past, I should say. And I just want to talk about their identify some of their offseason needs and talk about what I think they'll actually do this offseason. And that's what these videos are about. Personally, I thought they should have loaded up more in pitching and some of their strengths. And I thought they should re-sign Charlie Morton. He's obviously moved on to the Atlanta Braves now for 1 year, $15 million deal. I also thought they should have gone after or potentially signed Kevin Gautzman, but he accepted the qualifying offer from the Giants. So I think they could have really loaded up in the bullpen. In the rotation. Now in terms of the bullpen, I bring in another. They already have a ridiculously powerful bullpen, but I thought going after somebody like Brad Hand, giving him another power lefty to go with those power righties would have really, really, really catapulted that bullpen over the top. Now he's still out there, so I could see it happen. I could see them bringing him in. But that said, now that Blake Snell's on the market, unless they get a top pitching prospect back for him, as well as some other guys, I don't see them adding a starter. Who would they add aside from a Trevor Bauer, who they're not going to add, that will replace Blake Snell? And I can only see him going to a handful of teams. Snell, maybe the Dodgers, which would be a ridiculous trade. And a couple other teams. You can even add it to the Nationals or the Mets. I don't see them trading him to the Yankees because the Yankees are now their new arch rival. It's not Yankees-Boston anymore. It's Yankees-Tampa Bay. So I don't see that. Even though they can get Luke Voit and a bunch of other players back for him, don't see it happening. I'd be surprised if it did. So would I give up a Luke Voit for him? Yes. Because it's Blake Snell, and we need a legitimate 1A or number 2 behind Garrett Cole. So, but I don't see that happening. But again, crazier things have happened. Teams have traded within the division before, so we'll see. I don't think they'll trade him unless they're blown away with a package. So we'll see on that regard. I do have, once I'm done with the 30 by 30, I have 2 more teams after today, the Mets and the Yankees. After that, I have my first video out of the gate is going to be 5 bold and crazy 3-team trades. Okay, yeah, 3-team trades. I have 5 bold and crazy ones. Blake Snell is involved with one of them. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that right now. Hit that notification next to it so you don't miss that video when it comes out. You're not going to want to miss it. I got some 5 pretty balls to the wall trades. They're pretty bold. Some of you might think I'm nuts. It's all good. So, and you're not going to want to miss that one. So make sure you subscribe now if you haven't yet. And let me know in the comments when you subscribe so that I can personally thank you. I appreciate all of your support, whether you're new or whether you've been with me since the beginning. So back to Tampa Bay. Yeah, I really thought they should have loaded up. I also thought they should bring in another kind of versatile player, like a Tommy La Stella. And because he can play multiple positions, he gives the infield and outfield versatility. And I think a backup to, somebody who can back up first base, or what's the guy's name, Choi. I think he might be a free agent too. But he was clutch last year, so I personally see them bringing him back. That's one of my predictions. But I think they should bring in somebody like a La Stella to give depth to that infield. And another person I think they should bring in is and I say this to a lot of teams, is Jurickson Profar, because he's another player that gives versatility for the infield and outfield. Okay, those are the things I think they should do aside from adding, pitching, boosting somebody like Brad Hand, and maybe bringing in a depth starter if they're considering trading Blake Snell. And I thought it should be Morton and Gausman. They're no longer on the market, so or Gausman, whatever his name is. So would I be surprised if they brought in just a pitcher, a finesse pitcher or somebody like that? I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in John Lester. He can sit right, in the back of that rotation, behind, Snell if he stays, or Glasnow if he leaves the rotation. Give them depth, give them veteran presence. He can help mentor the young pitchers, and so on. So that combination of pitchers is where I think they should be, where I think they might go. I see them making a non-flashy move for pitching, unfortunately. I do see them adding. I see them making trades. I'll put it this way: I see them making trades this offseason more than I see them doing free agent signings. They have a top 5 farm, so they can use the assets, and they have a well-oiled machine. They have a team that's balanced, so I don't see the need to bring in these high-paid players. But I could see them using some of their resources to get, trade for a Whit Merrifield or something like that, which would be crazy. So that's where I see them. That's kind of my predictions of where I see Tampa Bay going. I see them adding a low-key starter. I see them adding another bullpen piece like a Brad Hand, which would make that bullpen ridiculous. I hope the Yankees snatch him up before Tampa Bay does, but I don't know. I don't have a good feeling now. So, but I see them using their prospect capital and even major league capital to add depth. And one reason I mentioned like a Profar and a La Stella is because of what happened to Randy Arozarena the other day. He was arrested in Mexico for, I don't know if it's kidnapping, I don't know what, but who knows what's going to happen to him, which was kind of caught me way off guard. And I don't know if he's going to go to prison. Who knows what's going to happen with Arozarena? And he was clutch for them last year, but now it creates a bit of drama. So we don't know what's going to happen. That's why I mentioned La Stella now, and or Profar in kind of my predictions, because I think they would give that protection. And they're also, La Stella particularly, he's clutch, okay, and he's versatile. And Profar is young. He's only 28. He was number 1 prospect in baseball like 4 or 5 years ago. So, that's where I think they should go, and this is where I think they will likely go because of what happened. They don't really have many holes to fill. So, unless they trade for a Wilson Contreras from the Cubs, who's now available, which would be a wise move in my opinion for them, to get a full-time catcher so that they're not having to platoon. Even though I like Zunino and the other guy, getting somebody like Wilson Contreras who can be their mainstay behind the plate would be a smart move for them. So that's a trade that I think they should make. I don't know what they'll use for it, but a Wilson Contreras would be a smart move. And they can make it an even bigger trade. A Wilson Contreras and a Javi Baez, full-time shortstop too. Or they can move him to second base. He gives them versatility as well. But they can get a package deal, use some of their prospect capital. Now, Contreras is controlled for a couple more years, so he's on. He's going to be more reasonably priced. Baez is going to cost a lot after next year because he's a free agent. So that might not be as palatable, so I would probably stick to a Wilson Contreras trade for them. But to me, that's one of the wiser trades they could make this offseason, Tampa Bay. So that's what I have for them. It's not a flashy video, but again, they don't need to do much. And my bold and crazy trade is going to happen in a few days, so you're gonna want to watch out for that one. So again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and hit that notification next to it. And please hit the thumbs up on all the videos. It's really helpful to the channel's growth. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Be safe, look out for each other, and we're going to be heading over to Citi Field to talk about the Mets next. So get ready, it's coming.